What's up guys, this is Everything Tech Pro, and today in this video I have the continuation of my previous video and I have an update on the status of the iPhone and what are the devices we could expect in the 21st March event. So in my previous video I told what could be there in the iPhone SE or the iPhone 5 SE, and I have an updated news on that, so I'm going to discuss about that. So many of the predictors, including the ancient Chinese predictor who used to predict the things and got almost 90% of the options right, he has given an official word and he said that in 2014, when iPhone 6 and the 6 Plus were launched, which were 4.7 inch and 5.5 inch respectively, Apple thought that they could regain the market of bigger phones, because when they brought in with the 5 and 5S, they had a good percent of market share of smartphones. But after the launch of the 6 Plus and the 6S and the 6S Plus, there is not a big change in their sales, because when the 5S was introduced, a lot of people were attracted towards the cute phone iPhone 5S, and they decided to move on and they upgraded their phones. So that's a good thing. But when we talk about the iPhone 6 and the 6S and the 6S Plus and these phones, people didn't move. Most of them used their 2-year-old iPhone 5S or even 5, and many people, not many, but some people use the iPhone 5C also. So what we know from this is the iPhone 5S is still a good choice for the people. So Apple will be looking at an iPhone which is 4-inch like this iPhone 5S. So we know that Apple is going to release a 4-inch iPhone. And in my previous video, I said it could be SE or 5SE, and still the name is not confirmed. So it remains the same, that it could be 5SE or it could be SE. So we know it's a 4-inch, and now what people have indicated is that it's going to have Apple Pay, which they brought in in the 6 and the 6S iPhone. So Apple Pay will be there, but still everybody says that it's not going to have the 3D touch, and there is evidence, and many of the people have shared this photo, but this photo is a photo of the screen of the iPhone 5SE, and that with the simultaneously sharing with the screen of the iPhone 6S. In the 6S you could see the Force Touch layer, and in the 5SE screen, which is being leaked, there is no Force Touch layer. So this again till now confirms that the iPhone 5SE or the SE will not have a Force Touch. So let's have a look at the photo for a couple of seconds. So it's really clear from this picture that the one on the left is the iPhone SE or 5SE screen, and the one on the right is the iPhone 6S screen. And this picture clearly states that the iPhone 5 SE won't be having the 3D touch which is there in the iPhone 6S. So it's clear from the image that the iPhone 5 SE or the SE is not going to have a 3D touch. So that's it for the iPhone division. And now we're going to move on to the next device, which is going to be introduced in the 21st March event. So it's iPad. So in the iPad, in the previous release, we saw the 12.9-inch iPad Pro, which was released, and people were not that happy with that release, and people still like the smaller versions of the iPad. That's the 8-inch iPad and the smaller version of the iPad Mini and all. So this is iPad 3 basically. So people still love these iPads and want to use the iPads in this screen size, not the very big one. And some people love it, but not all love it. So since iPad Pro was released just this previous September, so I think iPad Pro's second version is not going to come up so quickly. So we're going to see the updated 9.7-inch iPad, which could be the iPad Air 3 or the iPad Mini 5. So any one of them we could see. So in these iPad, which they want to launch, that includes iPad Mini 5 and iPad Air 4. So in these we could actually see the smart connector, which was there in the iPad Pro. in which you could connect the keyboard with the iPad Pro and type directly to save the hassle of typing in the screen. So you could use that keyboard, and that's going to be a really interesting choice for the new iPads. And I guess people are going to love the keyboard that came with the iPad Pro. And next is the Apple Pencil. So I'm not sure whether Apple is going to bring Apple Pencil to it, but I say it's 50-50. Apple will bring and not bring also, because there are many reasons that Apple could bring, because Apple Pencil is the newest device which they have launched from the previous thing. Like, we had the iPad, we had the iPhone and all, but Apple Pencil was new product which it launched previous September. So there is a lot of chance that Apple could bring an Apple Pencil, but since it's exclusively for the iPad Pro, they said it, so there is a really less chance that they could give it to the smaller version of the iPad. So they're gonna keep using that Apple Pencil and just iPad Pros. So I don't think Apple Pencil is gonna come to the smaller version of the iPad. So one thing we know that when iPad 3 and all were there, if you have an iPad, you are the luckiest person to have the best tablet in your hand. But now it's not the case. There are other companies which are the competitor of the iPad's versions that include Samsung, Redmi, HCL, Lenovo, and other devices. So Apple should be making an iPad that's really incredible so that they could catch through what they have lost in the 2 to 3 years recently. So I think that's what is there in the iPad. We know 2 iPads could be coming up, and so that's it for the iPad section. So guys, I found this one on the internet. I'm not sure where from it is, but many people believe that this is the next concept for the iPad which Apple is bringing up lately. So you see in the image, there's another thing which many people tell, that's the concept of iPad Mini S. So this is very least likely to happen, but I'm informing you because some people say that they're not now going to release the iPad Mini S or the iPad Air S. So we don't know what's true, but this could be one of the possibilities that they could release the iPad Mini S and or the iPad Air S. So that's it for the iPad. So now we're going to move on to the next device. So it's not actually a device, but it could be the new bands. It's 11:30. It could be the new bands for the Apple Watches, or it could be the new Watch OS or something else. So we could hope that they may update the Watch OS to the next version, and they may bring in the new bands for the Apple Watch. And there might be a lot of chances that Apple may bring in new features of the Apple Maps and various other features. And that night, I'm really sure that Apple is going to launch the iPhone SE with the iOS 9.3, and which has a feature called night shift. So that means that the display color, the display is easier to see when you go to bed. So which means that when there's darkness, the brightness or the other things are gonna change automatically, and it's gonna be easy to see. So that's the feature called as the night shift. So I'm not sure whether this is releasing, but the iOS 9.3, many people say should have the night shift feature. So these are the things which are going to happen in this. So that's all, guys, for the Apple Watch section. So next, we are definitely sure that Apple is going to talk about the FBI security case. You know, the FBI case that's going on between Apple and the FBI. So I think Apple will be talking about that, and definitely they're going to ask for our support or something like that. So since the trial of that case comes the next day, so Apple is going to talk about that issue, and they're going to address that issue, and they're going to be many other things. So the Apple CEO Tim Cook also spent a small part of Monday evening talking about Apple's position. So it's going to be there, what they're going to do and what they are not likely to do, and also let's see. There's also a chance that they might be ignoring that because they don't want any publicity or stuff. So let's see what is not going to show up in the March 21st event, and they are most likely to be released in the September event, which the Apple conducts every year. That includes the Apple Watch 2. So Apple released its smartwatch around a year ago. So there is a chance that the Apple Watch 2.0 may be there, but there is a very less chance that the Apple Watch 2 could come because still people have not fitted up correctly onto the Apple Watch 1. So that's a very dislikely thing to happen, that they're going to release the next Apple Watch. So, and the second thing is the iPhone 7. So there have been a lot of commotion about the iPhone 7, saying that it's gonna move to OLED display and it's gonna have other features, and they have patented the OLED display, that's for sure. But iPhone 7 is not gonna show up, that's for sure, because people are not talking much about the iPhone 7. But if you search iPhone 7, then we could expect the OLED display that Apple has patented recently, and they could remove that 3.5mm jack issue that I told. Like, you have the 3.5mm jack in the 5S, 6, 6S and all. So they might remove this 3.5mm jack and they could make a headphone that fits in your Lightning connector, or they could even modify your Lightning connector that the iPhone 5 and above uses. So there has been another update which the Everything Apple Pro YouTube page told in their video. So that states that Apple has patented another type of headphone that could work both as a wired medium and as a wireless medium. So that's what Everything Apple Pro said. So we could be actually having a new version of the headphone which doesn't use the 3.5mm jack, and we could see the newer version of the Lightning connector or something else. So that's what this iPhone 7 and all updates till now. And if there are any other updates, I'll definitely let you know about iPhone 7 also. So the next thing is Apple Car. So Apple is really excited about the Apple Car, but before some time I even heard that Apple has registered certain domains exclusively for Apple Car so that no one else takes it up. So we know that Tim Cook is not going to release the self-driving iCar, which they call it. So that's not going to be there. And even, I guess, there's not going to be the newer version of the Apple TV. And but there could be one more thing which could come up this March. That is, it may be an iPad Pro. Oh, sorry, not iPad Pro. It could be MacBook Pro, or they might be bringing the newer version of the MacBook Air, or they could just bring up the newer version of the MacBook, which is currently available. So this is very less likely to happen. But since MacBook has recently came, so MacBook is not going to have an update. But we could see the update for the MacBook Pro and the MacBook Air, and we could also have an update in Mac Pro, Mac Mini, and all these devices. So this is also not indicated by most of them, but I think there are 20 to 30% chances that Apple may launch them, or they could bring in the updates for these two or 2 to 3 devices in the computing world. So that's it, guys, for the update today. And today it's 17th March. We just have 3 to 4 days remaining for the Apple event. So as the time progresses, I'm very sure that there are going to be a lot of other updates which is going to come up. So as soon as these updates come up, I'll post a video, and please don't forget to check my channel. You could actually see that. So that's it, guys, for today. And for any other news, I'll just post another video. So Till the next video, I'll see you guys, and till that time, goodbye.